Every hour of every day, this government facility in Washington, D.C. turns paper into money. In order to keep up with demand, these machines are running 24/7, pumping out more than $500 million into the U.S. economy every day. But this is only a tiny fraction of how much money is really made. Most of our money exists digitally, and this number currently goes up by more than $4 billion every day. But where does all of this money come from? Before it ever reached your bank account, it changed hands countless times, passing through people, governments, and businesses, all after being simply typed into existence on a computer. But in order to fully understand how we got to this point, we need to go back to a time before money. If a farmer, thousands of years ago, needed a new tool, he'd go to the local tool maker to buy one. The farmer didn't have anything to give him in return, so instead, they both just agreed that he owed him something in the future. Because the toolmaker trusted the farmer, his promise of future value was an acceptable form of payment. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, the farmer came back and gave him some food from his farm. To make transactions easier, people started to pay using more commonly used items like cattle, grain, and salt. Everyone needed these things, but they were hard to come by, and that's what made them valuable. The farmer could now buy a tool and pay for it right away, using a precise amount of grain that seemed like a fair exchange. This made transactions quicker, and both parties would leave with something valuable to them. But eventually the demand for trade was too much, and paying with a random mix of bulky objects wasn't good enough. People eventually settled on using metal coins, like gold and silver, since they were small, extremely valuable, and would last forever, unlike cattle or grain. Suddenly, trade around the world opened up, and things were being bought and sold all the way from China to Europe. But traveling with so much gold became heavy and dangerous. This was when the whole idea of money started to change. In 17th century London, trusted goldsmiths started to take in people's gold coins, promising to look after them for a small fee. In return, they would give the customer a piece of paper, a promise note that allowed them to retrieve their gold at any time. The key to this piece of paper was that the customer could go to any goldsmith in any town and claim back that exact amount of gold. The paper itself had no intrinsic value, but it became as good as gold. The notes were so convenient that people started simply exchanging them to buy and sell things. The goldsmiths realized that most people weren't actually coming to retrieve their gold, and so they started loaning out fake promise notes to customers, instant money that had to be paid back with interest, making the goldsmiths a small profit. This was fake money that didn't actually come out